Welcome to the Breve Music Podcast. I'm your host, Jermaine Harris. Forgive me if my voice sounds a little bit different this time. I am getting over a cold and wanted to just talk about something that is very important to me. And I hope to share my thoughts about the value of mental health with you if it's something that you haven't really thought about too much. So the definition of mental health can vary a bit from person to person, but I think that most people have a general idea about what mental health is. And one definition of that is a person's condition with regard to their physiological and emotional well-being. To me, that basically means how calm you are on an average basis and how able you are to handle situations that come up in your life without becoming excessively agitated for like an extended period of time. Before I continue this podcast, I am not a licensed therapist. If you're having a crisis and or you want to speak to someone professional, please reach out for help. I know that there are plenty of online resources and there may be some in your local area as well. The goal of this podcast is for me to share my thoughts about why it's important for you to take care of yourself mentally and hopefully share a couple tools for you to do that. So with that out of the way, basically taking care of your mental health is extremely important because if you are not in a good place mentally, you may be able to push through a few things and continue life as if nothing is wrong. But at some point, it's probably going to come back and bite you. And you're probably having issues in some area of your life where you wouldn't have that issue if you were in a good place mentally, if that makes sense. Of course, there are lots of reasons for you to be sad or happy in a given situation that are completely normal. I'm not saying you should never feel human emotions, but I'm saying that there are times where I know me personally, where I can be more anxious or more depressed than the situation really calls for. And I think that being mentally healthy means that I am more level-headed and able to just look at a situation or a problem and say, okay, well, here's a situation. Here's what I can do about it. As opposed to if I'm, say, super anxious about something and I just get kind of wrapped up in my anxiety and I'm thinking about what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And I'm not really focusing on finding a solution. At that point, it may be good for me to take a breath, think about what the actual issue is with the situation and figure out if there's any plausible solution to it. Some of the tools that I currently use to help me with my mental health are to play music. I have a clarinet and a tuba. I know kind of a weird combination, but you can ignore that part. So I play those pretty much every day. Just something about playing my instruments helps me feel better. I like to play video games. I play those throughout the week, not quite every day because I have to work, but usually a few days throughout the week. That tends to help me feel better. If I'm particularly stressed, if anything, it helps me to at least focus on something else. But one thing I do like is that if you give yourself a chance to focus on the problem kind of in the background of your brain, if you're not like actively thinking about it, you may even be able to find a solution that you couldn't have found if you were stressing over it constantly, if that makes sense. So those are a couple of activities that I do that help me feel a bit better. I love to journal and I walk, exercise pretty much every day. And I think exercising has been great. Getting outside. I know I'm in an area that is pretty walkable and doesn't get super cold here usually, but I know that it just depends on your area. So you may not be able to easily walk around too much, or it may be different for your situation. I don't know. But I recommend you finding at least something that you can do, if not every day, nearly every day, or on a very regular basis to help you build some sense of consistency in your day-to-day schedule. And I noticed for me, my baseline mental health level has been, I think, calmer compared to when I didn't work out regularly and when I didn't play my instrument regularly and make sure that I took time for myself. So I think that having a routine that is focused on something positive that you like is going to be helpful for you. And again, I'm going to say it for maybe the third time. See a therapist if you are at all interested in learning how to improve your mental health. There are resources out there for you. Please just, do your best to take care of yourself. So I hope that you're able to take something positive away from this episode. And thank you for listening.